Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Umineko Chapter 6. Hachitoya is asking what we think of the tale so far. Well, I think the tale's somewhat interesting. We've got some new backstory. We've had a few murders, at least 5 of them, we've seen. However, no one's found the bodies yet, so we're going to have a scene where the bodies are discovered, probably happening in the next few minutes. I'm certainly interested to see what the actual results are, as they've told us the mystical explanation of what happened. Let's see the results of the actions from the non-mystical side. When suddenly asked this question, NJ immediately came to her senses. Then she realized she'd been immersed in Hachijo's tale. So immersed she hadn't even thought what she thought of the story. The murders were just that gripping, apparently. She felt a bit defeated and tried to look displeased.
愛の試練云々で巧みにごまかしてるけど
You cleverly tried to distract us with this love trial stuff.
ちゃっかりと6人が死んで第一の晩を構成してるわ
But exactly 6 people have died setting up the first Twilight.
うまいものね
Impressive. Yeah, this love trial stuff I think was kind of weird, as it didn't really seem to be necessary or important. It's one of those things where you're like, where like some people insist on this weird archaic ritual and you're just like, you guys know this is complete bullshit, right? And they're like, no, we have to do it or the crops won't grow. And you're like, rain dances don't do shit, man. It's like, that's it. It's like you're like ritual dance isn't going to change the weather, but okay, do your thing. You're right. I hadn't realized. Mox clapped his hands as though he'd been outsmarted. Even though he figured it out before me, he played the fool. Well, that's simply because the number of lovers just happened to be 6. The fact that it matched the number of the first Twilight was half coincidence, half design. Hachijo, you literally introduced 2 lovers so you could make it 6. By making a wild, confused Beato clone herself and appear. Or I guess get created by Battler. More interesting that way, it feels more like fate. Humans have the bad habit of taking 2 meaningless phenomena and trying to link them together. Trying to make things seem like fate is a trick of the books. I guess you aren't a fan of destiny and miracles, lady? It's like UFOs? Everyone knows about them, but no one's ever seen them? That's a cool metaphor. So,
いつもの私なら愛だの幻想だのはミステリーには不要な無駄なシーンねとばっさり行きたいところだけど
normally, I would try to skip over all the love and illusions and call them unnecessary, useless scenes for the mystery.
それは奥野木さんに否定されたわ
But Okinogi-san disagreed with that way of thinking.
そういう愛のない見方だけでは真実に迫れないってね
He thought that by looking at things without love that way, the truth could never be reached. You mean President Okinogi's catchphrase? Without love, it cannot be seen?
それ
Yeah, that.
人の家族を物語の中で勝手に殺すことに対する怒りは置いておいて
If I put aside my anger at the person who killed my family in a
あ
story,
えてこの物語を書いた八条先生に敬意を表して言うならその描写には意味があることになる
and even speak with respect for Madame Hachijo, the one who wrote this tale, there must be a point to this
何
depiction.
しろこれだけの文章量を割いて散々愛だの試練だの語ってる
After all, she's used up so many pages talking about love and
つまり
trials.
これがこの物語のテーマでありキーワードだってことになるわ
In other words, those are the themes and keywords of this tale. Yeah?
おや
Oh.
赤インク以外で書いた文字は
すべて読むに値しないとまで言い切る御人も多いというのに。
There are many who claim all words not written in red ink are not worth
光栄
reading.
なるかな、人の
It's
声。
an honor, child of man,
黒い文字も読んでくれて。
that you have read the black letters as well.
物語は書き手が何かを伝えるために書くものよ。
Stories are written because the writer has something they want to communicate.
そしてそれはどういうわけか、直接書いたら無粋という奥ゆかしい面倒な
Some
作法があ
writers
る。
feel it's unrefined to lay everything out too directly.
愛がなければ真実に至れない運
I'm
命と
surprised
いう
black
描写は
text is a new
これま
concept
で
we
の
haven't
作
been
品にも
introduced
品
to.
質するわ。
Yes, I'm surprised too. I've only seen white, gold, blue, and red text, but now we have black. I've apparently been missing it. I know there's a black outline, but I thought that was just for the purpose of making the white more legible against a varied color backgrounds. Just like most of the overlay is there, so we can read what there was said if we missed a word or, don't speak Japanese. All this about how you'll never reach the truth without love has shown up many times in the works before this one.
それがこの新作ではさらに顕著。
The new work makes this even more
書き手
striking.
が一番伝えたくて考えてほしいのはそれってことになるわ。
It means that that is the one thing the writer wanted to tell us the most, the thing they want us to think about the most. Yeah, I think they probably translated black for ink, because typically text in a book would not be white, it would be black. That's the assumption I'm making, where I'm just joking around. I don't think they actually mean that there's text I should be looking for that's black. I think they say black because they're referring to the book NJ is reading, and a sensible person would assume that text is written in black in a book on white paper. When you think about it, there have been many scenes about love ever since Beato first appeared. Even the first time she appeared before Shannon, she spoke clearly about how love was the single element of the world. That was book chapter 2. And the golden butterfly brooch she had given was also an item for love. She said she enjoyed sowing seeds of love and watching complications arise. And when Shannon stopped borrowing her power, the reason for her argument was also love. After her interactions with Battler started up in full, scenes about love were toned down for a while. But the without love it cannot be seen definition of magic has been mentioned repeatedly. Then in the tale right before this one, when Beato became like a doll, several scenes made it seem almost as though Battler and Beato accepted each other as rivals or possibly something more. In the end, Battler had regained some memory and his impression of Beato had undergone a complete change. And then in this game, from the beginning until now, the word love has been repeated over and over and over again.
あなたが書いた物語は愛が何度も繰り返される。
The tale you wrote keeps talking
で
about
も
love.
それはマリアお姉ちゃんの主張でも
But
ベア
that's
トリーチェの主張でもない。
Maria One-chan's viewpoint or Beatrice's viewpoint.
八条東也の主張だわ。
It's Hachijo Toya's viewpoint. Yeah?
そうです。
Correct.
それこそが私が語りたいこと。
And that's what I wanted to
そ
tell.
して私なりの答えなのです。
Sort of answer.
答え
Answer.
じゃあつまり12年前の事件はすべておかしな悪魔の
And all
愛
of
の
the
試練で引
crimes
き
12
起
years
こされ
ago?
たと
They were a trial of love started by strange demons? Yes, of course. Demons in
バ
the
カ
real
バカ
world.
しい。
Ridiculous.
私はあんたの恋愛小説を読みにこ
I
こま
didn't
で来
come
たんじゃ
here
ないわ。
to read a romance novel you wrote.
私が知りたいのはあんたが至ったと自称する真実よ。
What I want to know about is the truth you claim to have reached. I mean, that's what I'm interested in too. Hopefully.
愚かなるかな人の子よ。
Foolish child of man.
これだけ文章を割いてま
After
だ
reading
伝
all
わら
this,
ないというの
do you
です
still
か。
not understand? Sorry, Hachijo. With an obviously condescending gaze, Hachijo shrugged. It was clear she was trying to provoke NJ, and the reader perhaps? She was probably hinting that NJ should just go home if she was annoyed. If you're gonna read my noble work and not even attempt to see whether you understand it, then get out. Normally NJ would already have thrown a fit and left, however she couldn't do that. Though she didn't like someone else toying with her family's fates in a story, she was growing increasingly certain of something else as she read through it. Just as Hachijo's followers said, the tale really does have the same presence, the same scent as tales written by Beatrice. The author was certainly different. However, because it reached the real truth, it had the same scent. NJ was beginning to acknowledge this. Hachijo Toya was the one who reached Beatrice's truth. An endless witch like Beatrice who could add to the endlessly stretching parallel worlds of the cat box.
ベアトリーチェの真実にたどり着いたものならば、
If one has reached Beatrice's truth,
私でなくとも新たな物語を紡げるで
and
しょう。
create a new tale, whoever they are. Will that be our 8th chapter? NJ reaches the truth and creates a final tale for us?
今回の原稿をもってきっと私以外にも真実に至るものが必ず現
With
れる。
this new manuscript, I'm sure someone besides myself will appear and reach the truth.
そのものもまた新たな物語を紡ぐ資格を得るのです。
Those people will be qualified to create new tales of their own.
どんどん無限の魔女が増えていくわ。
So there will be more and more endless witches?
そう。
Yes.
そして何人もの無限の魔女たちがベアトリーチェの猫箱の物語を増やしていく。
And these many endless witches will add to Beatrice's catbox
増え
tale.
れば増えるほどまた新たに真実に
The more
至
they
る
add
も
to
のが現れる。
The more people will reach the truth.
そうすることで一番最初の無限の魔女ベアトリーチェがあれだけの枚数の手紙に
Okay.
物語を記してボトルに詰め
And when
て
that finally
海に投
happens,
じた労力が
the
初
very
めて
first
報われるの
endless
です。
witch, holy Beatrice, will finally be rewarded for writing such long letters, packing them in bottles and throwing them into the sea. Interesting.
あなたは私に怒りの言葉をぶつけ席を立つこともできた。
You might have yelled at me and risen from your
し
seat.
かしそれをしませんでした。
Why?
悔
What?
しいけれど、
I hate to
あん
admit
た
it,
の物語
but
の
I'm
中
starting to
に
think
何かの真相、
your tale is some
もし
kind
く
of
は
truth
ヒン
or
トが
hint
あるこ
within
と
it.
を
Yes,
認
or
めつつあるからよ。
oh my goodness, that was a long ass sentence in Japanese. Yes, I'm starting to think the tale has some kind of truth or into it. It might. I'm not currently seeing any greater picture in this one than others, though. I already have my own ideas. However, that's no more than looking with a single eye. Unless I accept a different viewpoint from my own and look at things from more than one angle, I'll never be able to see the truth in 3 dimensions. That's my interpretation of without love it can't be seen.
それでよい。人の
Very
子、
well, child of man.
後宮家の最後の生き残りであるあなたが真実に至り、
As the final survivor of the Ishiromiya
無
family,
限の魔女になることを運命も待ち望んでいるでしょ
it
う。
was fated you'd find the truth and become an endless witch.
私という存在など、あなたという真の継承者を
I
覚醒
exist
さ
only
せ
as a
るための
guidepost. To
ただの
awaken you
道
is...
しるべに過ぎないのだから。
Sometimes people just talk way too long. Alright, I exist only as a guidepost to awaken you as the true successor.
エンジェ・ベアトリーチェ。
NJ Beatrice. Sometimes I don't understand what she's saying. However, she knows something, and maybe she actually reached the truth as she claims. In other words, I didn't learn the truth even after reading the 2 message bottles Beatrice left behind. I'm now reading tale after tale filled with hints.
これはヒントという名の挑戦であり、挑発なわけだわ。
So these hints are challenges provoking me to think.
いかにも。
Indeed.
上等じゃない。あ
Perfect.
んたがたどり着いたという真実を
I'll find the
私
truth
も
you
掴み
say
取
you've
ってやる
reached.
わ。やはり私はここに訪れるべきだ
It's
っ
a
たん
good
だ
thing
わ。
I came here.
その通り、
That it is.
未だ至れぬから私が招いたのです。
I invited you here because you hadn't found it yet, child of man. Let the truth I see and the truth you see overlap. Just as you see things with a single eye, so do I. Now that I've found you, I can finally see the truth with both eyes. Everyone NJ runs into is obsessed with this, but she is hunting these people down. Apparently they're easy enough to find. Erica's napping in the metaverse? Alright.
ようやく第一の番が起こりましたね。
The first twilight finally
す
happened.
くすく眠い展開でした。
Everything so far has made me so sleepy.
片目に目やにがついてるぜ。
You have some sleep in your eye.
どこに？
Where?
いい加減なこと言わないでください。
Mind your own business. Hmm.
お望み通り
As you wish.
始めるぜ。
Let's begin.
まずは第一の番だ。
First off, the first Twilight. Everyone's died, so it's only a matter of time before someone finds some bodies or sees that people are missing. Who did Battler kill, do we think? He says he already killed someone. And presumably it wasn't Natsuhi? He just helped out killing the Natsuhi. 1.5 kills, shall we say? I guess it's 2 kills, and Natsuhi has, 2 kills, and Beato has an assist. But apparently it counts as a kill. Alright, Erica was dozing off on her bed, so when a knock sounded on the door, it took some time before she noticed. She looked at the clock and saw that not much time has passed since she'd laid down.
はい。どちら様ですか
Yes, who is it?
こんな時間に探偵の部屋をノックするからには相応の理由はあるんですよね。
You have a good reason for knocking on the detective's door at an hour like this?
そうだ。
That's right.
今回のゲームを始める前に一つ宣
I have
言
one
があり
thing
ま
to
す
say before we begin this game.
ああ、例の探偵宣言とやらか。
Oh, the detective proclamation thing.
好きにするがいいぜ。
Yeah, do as you wish.
いいえ、その逆です。
No, I mean the opposite. Oh, good evening.
勝負のレートを上げようというこ
I
と
say
です。
we raise the stakes.
勝負のレートとは
Raise the stakes?
何何
What's this? What's
面白
this?
そうなこと言い出すじゃ
Now
ない。
that sounds
どういう
interesting.
ことよ。
What do you mean? What do you mean?
簡単な話よ。
It's simple.
前回のゲームはバトラが1本取ったわ。
Battler got a shot off at us in the last game.
だから今回エリカが1本を取ってもイーブンにしかならない。
So if Erica does the same in this game, we're only even? Yeah, that seems fair.
前回のゲームは引き分けだったのでは
Wasn't the last game a tie? It was their win. It was their victory, and Battler created a tie from a sealed victory. Which stakes? There's 7 of them. I don't know. They've all been. It said that the stakes have been raised, so that's going to be more than 1.
勝って当たり前のゲームを落としたのよ。
We failed to win a game that should have been a shoe-in,
あ
right?
んなの負けでなくてなんだというのよ。
If that's not a loss, I don't know what is.
ねえ、
Right?
エリカ。
Erica?
はい、我が主。
My master.
私が無様を晒さなければ勝てて当然のゲームでした。
If I hadn't have failed so miserably, we would have won the game easily.
ははん、なるほど。
Get it, I get it.
つまり今回わざと探偵宣言を出さないことでわざと不利に戦いそれでも勝ってみせちゃって
So this time you'll intentionally fight at a disadvantage by not making a detective proclamation and win despite
前
that.
回の負けを帳消しどころか大逆転にしようって魂胆ね。
You're scheming to not only wipe out your loss from the previous games, but also totally flip the score upside down, right?
バトラさんの渾身のゲームにそんなおかしなハンデをつけて戦うなんて
You intend to participate in the game Battler-san poured his heart and soul into with a foolish handicap like that.
身の程知らず以前に失礼です
It's not only presumptuous, it's quite rude. I mean, that's Erica for you. Also, like, most of the stuff she needs to investigate, she doesn't have to investigate because Battler doesn't have the tools for it. For example, people faking their deaths, not a thing that's gonna happen. As it hasn't really happened in previous games.
そうだな。
It's not really all that important that the detective examine the bodies themselves. Mostly secondhand evidence will work
むし
here.
ろ負けた時の言い訳にするための保険にすら聞こえるぜ。
Sounds more like an excuse in case they lose.
確かにそういう見方もあるわね。
True, you could look at it that
勝
way.
てば大勝利。
If they win, it's a great victory, and if they lose, Erica's side has a nice little
でも
excuse.
負ければ言い訳可能なんて
Isn't
ちょ
that
っ
a
と
bit
エリカ
unsporting?
側に虫のいい話だわ。
Yes, but Lambda Delta, you are quite unsporting yourself, as is Burn Castel.
大
Seems
丈夫
exactly
よ。
like something you do.
ちゃんとかけるものは公平だわ。
Don't worry, this bet is balanced on both
今
sides.
回のゲームに探偵宣言なしの人間で勝てればバトラたちの魔女幻想は
粉々の再起不能。
This game is won by a human without the detective proclamation. It'll be impossible for Battler and the others to pick up the pieces of the illusion of the witch.
でも逆にエリカが負けるようならこのゴミくず探偵は忘却の深淵に
On the other hand,
最
if
悪
Erica
のかけら
loses,
と一緒にぶち込んでやるの。
that detective trash will be sent to the depths of oblivion along with the worst possible fragment. How is that balanced? Wasn't that already the case? If Erica lost, she'd be sent to oblivion? That's not new information. That was already known. It's not exactly balanced.
ね、
See? See?
公平でしょ。
It's balanced, isn't it?
探偵という超人でなくただの人間が魔女幻想を打ち破るという最高の勝利。
Ultimate victory with a mere human, not a superhuman detective. Destroying the illusion of the witch.
それと引き換えに自身の破滅をかけてるわけ。
She puts her own destruction on the line to make that bet. But nothing's changed for this.
私はかつてのベアトとあんたのゲームみたいにダラダラとぬるいゲームを繰り返されちゃう。もう
I've gotten
退屈
bored
な
of
わけ。
these sluggish repeating games you and the former Beato
だから
made.
勝負のレートを上げて一気に勝負をさせるわ
We'll raise the stakes and settle it all at once.
まあ確かにそうね。
Well, that's
今回
true.
のゲームをバトラが通しちゃったら
If Battler makes it through
ベ
this
アト
game,
のゲームにバトラが勝利したことになりゲームは終了してしまう。
it'll mean Battler's won Beato's game and the game will end.
ある意味逃すことのできない決戦だもの
In
ね。
a sense, it's a showdown you can't escape, right?
言い分は分かった
I see your position.
エリカはそれでいいのか
You okay with that, Erica? It was already the stakes for her.
も
Nothing's
ちろ
changed.
んです。
Yes, of course, she proposed it and nothing's changed for her.
前回の敗北で失った主よりの信頼を取り戻すために私は自分の破滅すらもかけるのです。
In order to regain my master's trust in me, which was lost by my previous defeat, I will risk even my own destruction. But that was already on the table. That was the threat for failing. I guess Battler doesn't know that. Is that of your own will? Battler's questioning whether or not it's just Burn Castell telling her what to say.
どうしたのエリカ。
What's wrong, Erica?
答えてあげなさい。
Answer him, alright?
当然です。
Obviously.
私の意思です。
It's my own will.
私は絶対に負けません。
I certainly won't lose.
探偵宣言なんかなくても、あんたを必ず打ち破ってみせます。
Without the detective proclamation, I will defeat you no matter what.
バトラさん。
Considering Battler needs a ton of extra time to come up with an answer, I'm a bit worried for Battler. Battler's... He lost last time and only managed to seize victory or snatch a tie from the jaws of defeat by coming back to life with a solution after the trial had concluded. He may not have that luxury this time.
いいだろう
Sure, that's fine.
お前がそうしたいというならそ
If
の
that's
勝
what
負
you
を受
want,
けてやる
I'll accept that challenge.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
受けたことを必ず後悔
I'll
さ
make
せてやり
sure
ます
you
から。
regret it. Thanks, Erica.
思えばバトラだって人間側だった時はずっと探偵権限なんて便利な力は一切なかった。
After all, when Battler played for the human side, he never had anything as convenient as the detective's authority. Can't Burn Castell just red truth her to give her red truths? So he can't even be conservative with red truths because Burn Castell will just feed her truths?
許されてたのは青き真実と復唱要求だけ。
All he was allowed to do was use the blue truth and demand Beato repeat things he said.
そういうこと。
Until Beato told him she wouldn't do that anymore.
ある意
Exactly.
味、前回のゲームの方がアンフェアだったわけだわ。
In a way, the last game was unfair.
それで勝ちを落とすのだから、それは負けと全く同じ。
And us failing to win despite that, which is why it was no different from a loss.
好きにしろ
Do what you want.
お前が探偵宣言をしたくなったらいつでもすればいい
If you feel like making a detective proclamation, do it whenever you like.
今はそれを保留していると理解しておく。
I understand you're holding it in reserve at the moment.
誰か宣言なんかするもんですか。
As if I'd use such a thing. You already did.
あんた程度の相手に
Against an opponent like you.
では始めなさい、二人
Get
とも。
started, you two.
私の退屈は
I'm
も
starting
う
to get
始
bored.
まっているわ。
お任せを我が主。
Leave it to me, my master.
必ずや魔女幻想を打ち破ってご覧に入れます。
I'll destroy the illusion of the witch for you without fail. Seems like things aren't going quite as well as she wanted to. George and Jessica were the ones knocking on Erica's door. They were asking whether Battler and Maria had come to this room. Or Maria, I guess. Of course they hadn't.
ずいぶん前に下に飲み物を取りに行くと言って降りたきり戻らないんだ。
Bit annoying to make that declaration this late in the story, though. To be like, oh, I'm not going to use my detective powers, because if Battler's creating a game, he's going to create the game assuming that you're going to have detective powers. And that means he's going to probably provide you the clues anyway, or he's going to make it clear which ones are the clues, because he has to be clearly providing you every single clue regardless. And then if you're like, oh, I'm not using my detective powers, he's like, are you fucking serious? I have everything set up so that you will get all the clues you need, because you have detective powers that require you to get all your clues. And now you're telling me you may not receive all the clues, but I've already set up the game board such that you will receive every clue. And then you can turn around and be like, I didn't use my detective powers. And you're like, yes, that's because I gave you every clue, because I figured you were obligated to receive every clue, so I may as well give you them as part of my game plan. Great job. Kind of a dick move. To be like, I'm changing the rules of the game again halfway through. I wouldn't be super happy about that. Like, it's like someone makes a character and like they do nothing but makes a character with like some sort of divination ability. They do nothing but spam that divination ability before everything, so you end up making things really straightforward so they don't need to spam it. And then they're just like, hey, can I rework my character? Can I reroll? This divination character is boring. And you're like, I wrote everything so that they would not need to use divination, or so that the divination would be relevant. Are you fucking serious? Dick move for Erica checks out. And it's like, okay, well, the divination was getting boring, so I reduce the need for it. Because the goal is to make them solve something, not make them spam divination. And they're like, oh, look at me, I'm doing all this without that divination. I'm so smart. And you're like, yes, that's because you were being fed all of it. A little bit less impressive when you don't have anything to solve out, because you were just divining the answer previously, so I'm handing it to you now. Like, okay. And the first puzzle, the answer is 3. That was easy. Like, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we figured it out nice and easy. We didn't need the divination. It's like, I gave you the answer 3 because you were gonna just use divination to check on the last guy who went through the fucking door, saw that it was 3, and did it anyway. Like, kind of annoying. Because Battler can't necessarily rework the entire game from scratch, or rework the game from here, right? He doesn't have the thinking time to stop and be like, okay, I'll rework the game so that it's harder and works against her lack of detective powers. Oh well. So a while ago they went downstairs saying they wanted to get something
ひょっ
to
とし
drink.
てエリカちゃんの部屋に来てるかなと思って
We thought they might have come to your room. That seems like a stupid assumption, George, but okay.
来るわけないです。
Of course not. Why would they? So here is, I think this is the first scene we're seeing where Battler's like, are you serious? Because if she had her detective powers, she's obligated to be given every clue, right? So if something happens that she needs to see, someone needs to come get her. In this case, George is coming to get her to inform her of something. However, if she isn't the detective and doesn't have the detective mandate, George doesn't need to go to a room and tell her that Maria and Battler are missing or went to a strange place at around this time. Because, you know, why would you do that? Maria hates Erica and doesn't want to talk to her, and Battler is trying to keep them apart. so they'd never go here and hang out. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. But George is obligated to talk to her and inform her of like these things because of her detective powers that she no longer apparently has, but she's obligated. She's getting the benefits of having them anyway. It's also like, what if you were like playing a game of D&D, you did some divination and then re-rolled for next session and then worked off the divination your character did. Like, oh great. You may as well not even have, you may as well just give that character divination if you're going to be just make a character divine stuff, re-roll, and then operate off that other character. Like, you may as well just get both characters. You may as well get both characters' movesets if you're going to do stuff like that intentionally. So for this scenario, she's at a big advantage because parts of the scenario are designed for her to be required to be handed everything. This is kind of lame from a gameplay perspective. Yeah, of course not. What would
屋
they?
敷にでも行ったんじゃないですか？
Are you sure they didn't go to the mansion?
屋敷の使用人室や食堂に電話してるんだけど誰も出なくて。
Called the servant room and the dining hall of the mansion, but no one picked up.
あなたたちはここにいてください。
Please stay here, you two.
私はちょっと屋敷の様子を見てきます。
I'm gonna go check the mansion.
危ないよ、こんな時間に。
It's dangerous to go this late. How is it dangerous, George?
この閉鎖された島に不審者がいるはずもないじゃないですか。
How could a stranger sneak into this sealed off
いと
island?
こ部屋とやらにいてください。
Stay in that cousin room of
何
yours.
かあったら連絡しますから。
I'll contact you if anything
ゲスト
happens.
ハウスの使用人室の人たちにもゲストハウスを出ないように伝えてください。
Tell the servants in the guest house servant room to not leave the building.
では、
Bye.
ちょっとエリカさん。
And now she's being active instead of passive like Battler was. Annoying. That's annoying. Oh well. Wait a second, Erica.
変わった子だね。
A strange kid, isn't she? After speaking her mind and not listening to anything else, Erica had dashed down the stairs and rushed outside.
第一の番は夜が明けてから発覚がパターンでしたが、今回は即勝負ときましたか。
The first twilight usually starts in the morning, but it looks like we got an early fight
ゲ
this
スト
time.
ハウスで事件は起きていない。
No crime occurred in the guest
と
house.
なると、惨劇の舞台は屋敷ってことになります
That
ね
means。the stage of the tragedy is the mansion. Though she had an umbrella up, Erica got drenched as she sprinted. She brashly licked the raindrops that licked down her face. Erica was at her most energetic. Alright. According to her memory from the previous game, the entrance hall to the mansion would be locked after the start of the family conference. However, the lock was undone this time. Had someone unlocked it, or had the lock not been set? Or perhaps it wasn't possible to set the lock.
まあ、考えても無駄ですね。
No point thinking about it
そ
now.
んなの、ゲームマスターの気まぐれかもしれませんか
After all,
ら
it。might just be a whim of the game masters. As soon as she entered the entrance hall, the door to the parlor opened violently. Out of it flew Goda's large body.
おや、こんばんは、ゴーダさん。
Good evening,
何
Goda-san.
かございましたか？
Is something the matter?
警察救急車を
Police ambulance! Oh, okay. The expression really is wonderfully pathetic. Just perfect for the first one to discover the crime.
どうか落ち着いてください。
Calm down.
台風の孤島でどうやって警察と救急車が来てくれるって言うんです？
How could the police or an ambulance get to an isolated island
ど
inside a
うせ
typhoon?
電話は普通にされてるんですから落ち着いてください。
I'm sure the phones are out anyway. Please calm yourself. Yells from Kraus and Rudolph's group could be heard from the parlor. Their shaken appearance perfectly signified the coming of the first twilight.
それでは死者と現場、状況の再構築をお願いします。
Well then, give me the victims, the scene, and a reconstruction of the situation.
小休止に出た人間が戻らないので大人たちが客前へ行ったところ
Those who left to take a break didn't come back, so the adults went to the
扉
parlor.
が内から閉ざされて開かなかっ
When they did, the door was sealed from the inside and they
た
couldn't
後に
open
わ
it.
かるが客間内の帽子掛けが観音開きの扉に 内側から缶抜きにされていた。
You'll see later, but the hat stand in the parlor had been used to bar the double doors from the inside.
扉は内から閉ざされ、そして窓も内側から施錠と言いたいわけですね。
Trying to say the door was blocked from the inside, and the windows were also locked from the inside.
そういうことだ。
That's
外
it.
に回り、窓から客間内を見たところ、ローザがソファーに不自然な格好で横になり、額から血を流しているのが見えた。
When they went around and looked into the parlor through the window, they saw Rosa lying on the sofa in an unnatural position, blood pouring from her
そこ
forehead.
でガラスを割って客間に入り、他にマリアも壁際に血まみれで倒れているのを発見した。
They then smashed the glass, entered the parlor, and discovered that Mario was also there lying by the wall, covered in blood.
なるほど。
Got it.
それは大騒ぎですね。
Yes, that would make them, yeah.
他の現場は
The other crime scenes?
エリカが屋敷に入った時、玄関が施錠されていなかったのは、この客間を外から確認するために出入りがあったからだ。
The entrance wasn't locked when you came in the mansion, because they went out through it to check the parlor from the outside. Giving a lot of information away, Battler, are we?
その直前までは施錠されていたため、他にも姿を消した人間たちが屋敷内のどこかで倒れてい
It
る可
had
能
been
性があ
locked
ると
before
し
they
て、
left through it, so there was a chance the others had gone missing. Who had gone missing were lying elsewhere
大
within the
人たちは
mansion.
今、屋敷中を探し回ってい
The
る。
adults are now searching the entire building.
先ほど長々と見せていただいたゲロカス妄想での犠牲者と死んだ場所は実際にも同じ。
同じだ。
So, the places the victims died match that long, crazy delusion you showed earlier? The very same.
客間にはローザとマリア、
Rosa and Mario were in the parlor.
それから夏日が自室で、キリエがクラウスの書斎、
Beyond that, Natsuhi was in her own room. Kyrie was in Krause's
エヴ
study.
ァはバラ庭園。いいえ、貴賓室に移動させたんでしたっけ？
Eva was in the rose garden. No. She was moved to the VIP room, wasn't she?
そうだ。
Yeah.
エヴァの遺体は貴賓室で見つかる。
Eva's corpse was found in the VIP room.
これで犠牲者5人ですね。
That makes 5 victims.
おや、第一の番には1人足りない。
That's one short for the first Twilight.
6人目は誰で、どこです？
Who's the 6th person? Where?
旦那様、この部屋にもチェーンが。
Krause-sama, the chain on this room is also set.
切断しろい。
Cut it.
犯人が隠れてるかもしれね
The culprit might be hiding in there.
え。ゴード、やる。
Golda, do it. Rudolph and Krause had brought Winchesters from Kinza's prized collection. They yelled at Goda, who was carrying the wire cutters, to cut the chain. The victims had been found one after another at several locations inside the mansion. The men who had lost their wives searched through the mansion in a rage, looking for the culprit. Rip Natsuhi and Kyrie. This was a guest room. It had previously been a room where the relatives would stay, but it hadn't been used much since the construction of the guest house. This forgotten room had been sealed from the inside by a chain.
だ、でい。
As soon as the chain was cut, Rudolph pushed Goda aside and flew into the
誰が
room.
嫌がる。出てきやがれ。
Is anyone in there? Get out
ベ
here.
ッドに誰かいるぞ。
There's someone on the
兄
bed.
貴、明かりを。
Get some light, Haneke. When Krause pushed a switch on the wall, the guest room lit up, and the figure laying on the bed came into view.
バトラー。
Battler.
お前、どうしてこんなところに。
What are you doing in a place like this? Is Battler getting killed for the first round, or is he just napping? He doesn't appear to have any injuries. Rudolph's knees crumpled and he fell over Battler's corpse. Oh, well, that's an answer. No words could console him as he cried with a mad sorrow. In a single night, he'd lost both his wife and his son. During this time, Krause checked the window in the bathroom and searched the closet to find if anyone was hiding there, but found no one.
バトラー。バトラー。ちくしょう。あー。
Battler kills himself in his own game. Because he's like, I haven't died yet. Someone's gotta kill me, please. That's sad. I was sad. Rip Battler.
信じられんことだが、こ
I
の
can't
部屋
believe
も
it.
密室だ。
Room is also a closed room. Again?
またですか。そうだ。
Yes.
キリエさんのいた私の書斎、ナツヒの自室、エヴァの貴賓室、ローザ親子の客間。
Where Kyrie-san was. Natsuhi's room, the VIP room with Ava, the parlor with Rosa and her daughter.
そしてこのバトラ君の客室。
And now Battler-kun in this guest room.
すべてが密室ということでは
They're
な
all
いか。
closed rooms, are they? Did they check under the beds? Did they check the closet? Did they check the bathroom?
わけがわか
I
る。
don't understand.
まさか自殺だとでも言うのか。
Couldn't be suicide, could it? It was a sudden heart attack from realizing the truth about his whole life.
そんなことあるもんか。
Impossible.
これがどう自殺だってんだ。
How could this be a suicide?
あーバトラー。
It was a heart attack induced by an allergic reaction to the food. Copium.
これは意外でした。
Now there's a
ま
surprise.
さか6人目はあなた自身とは。
I think you yourself would be the sixth person.
たまには自分殺しも面白いもんさ。
It's more interesting to kill yourself off every now and then.
そして全ての現場はいずれも密室です。
And all of the crimes are closed
魔
rooms.
法以外では成し得ない殺人です。
It's a murder that couldn't have been performed without magic.
それを暴くゲームじゃないですか。
Isn't seeing through that the point of this
す
game?
なわち魔法以外で成し得なければならない殺人というわけです。
In other words, it must be a murder that could have been performed without
だ
magic.
って本当に魔法でしかできなかったらそれって
After all,
ゲームが成
If
立
it
しま
really
せ
could
ん
be
から。
done only with magic, this wouldn't be a game at all.
面白い考え方だな。
Interesting
なる
thought.
ほど。確かに俺たちのゲームは
That is the sort of
So
game
you
we
game.
have been playing. This game is fair. The goal is to explain without magic the strange crimes that are claimed to be caused with magic. If that couldn't be done, it wouldn't be a game. In other words, as Erica said, they must be murders that could have been performed without magic. To turn it around, the witch side has a certain responsibility. They had to make a crime that could be reproduced with tricks and not magic. Unless the human side could see through to those tricks, the witch side could use all kinds of magic and illusions. In other words, in order to carry out a closed room murder with magic, it was necessary to create a crime that would be possible by human hands. So?
今ならわかるわ。
Oh, now you understand,
セール
Ninja?
チーヤでムカつくクラスメートたちを殺せと七姉妹に命じたとき、
I see why when I ordered the Seven Sisters to kill my classmates back at St.
どうして
Lucia's,
彼女らにそれが
they
できな
couldn't
か
do
っ
what I
た
told
か。
them.
そしてマモンが言った意味が今ならわかるわ。
Now I understand the meaning of Mammon's words.
魔法は自らの手で成し遂げられることしかできないという
Magic
こ
can
と
only do
か。
what you can accomplish with your own hands, is that it? At that time, if I had possessed the determination to kill my classmates... No, that's not it. If I had possessed the ability... At that time, if I'd been capable of killing my classmates, capable of pulling it off, the Seven Sisters of Purgatory would probably have pulled it off for me. They could only accomplish what I could do myself. That's not it either. They could take what I accomplished and turn it into magic. However, because there'd been a great number of witnesses in that classroom, it probably would have been impossible. It would have been burnt by that anti-magic toxin Mario One-chan and the others always talk about. However, if I'd called those classmates out somewhere without witnesses, and if I succeeded in murder, at that point the Seven Sisters of Purgatory would be capable of carrying out a magical murder.
魔女は魔法をもってしても自らにできないことをできない。
Even with magic, witches cannot do things they cannot accomplish by themselves.
自らにできることのみ魔法で装飾できる。
They can only adorn things they're capable of doing with magic.
面白きかな。
Interesting.
魔法を使わずして成し遂げる者が魔法を語り魔女を名乗るのだから。
And that is because those who accomplish something without magic later claim that magic was used and call themselves witches.
このエリカとやらはそれを初めから理解している。
This Erica person has understood that since the beginning. It only took us that long
だ
to
か
get
ら
there for the
絶対に魔女に屈しない。
That's why she'll never surrender to wishes.
絶対にトリックで説明できるという
She's
信念を
confident.
持ってる
It's gotta be explainable with tricks.
かつてのバトラにはそれがなかったからこれまでああも翻弄されてき
Yeah,
たと
the
いうわ
old
けだ
battler got bullied so often because he didn't possess that conviction.
このルールを見破られたら魔女に勝ち目はなくなるわ。
But yes, as NJ says, once you see that through that rule, the witch loses any chance at victory. The witch basically loses any chance to win.
だからそれを見破られる前に相手を屈服させなくちゃいけない。
That's why they have to make their opponent surrender before they see the truth of
長
that.
引けば長引くほど、そしてヒントを与えれば与えるほど、
The
魔女
longer the
は
match
圧
is
倒的
drawn
に
out,
不利
the
にな
more
ってい
hints
く。
that are given, the greater the witch's overwhelming disadvantage becomes. Once again, this reasoning keeps spinning around in circles. Why did Beato let this game get drawn out until she lost? Well, without love, it can't be seen, so... Many victims had been found, and the mansion was still wrapped in chaos. Hideyoshi's group seemed to have gone to the guest house, worrying about the safety of the kids there. Gross and Rudolph's group was in the hall talking about what should be done next. During a short gap in this chaos, Erica dashed all about the mansion, checking the crime scenes. Normally, with the detective's authority, she had the right to openly investigate the scenes to her heart's content. However, this time she hadn't yet made use of that authority. She was a guest and an outsider, so there was little chance she would be allowed to investigate. So they locked the rooms and she couldn't see shit. She just had to assume there were bodies there and the state of the rooms. Lucky her, she has an eidetic memory and knows everything about all the rooms. So she was forced to quickly check all the crime scenes now while she could still run about as she pleased. Wait, they didn't lock any of the rooms immediately? That's what they usually do. Battler, you're making this easy on her. Holy shit. For those of you who forgot, they basically lock all the rooms the minute the bodies are discovered in the first couple arcs. Or actually in almost all the arcs, they lock them immediately. Erica's playing on fucking easy mode. She's got her training wheels on. They're letting her just run to the crime scenes and look all she wants. Like, fuck, Battler couldn't even do that in any of the crime scenes. There's only a couple scenes where he even got much of a look at all. Because he usually gets shooed out of the room almost immediately or intentionally blocked from seeing anything. Bit annoying, but okay. Be able to do as she please. In the servant room, there was a clear folder containing a sketch of the mansion's interior. She borrowed that and knew the location of all the rooms. She skillfully made her way through the mansion, dashing into each crime scene in turn. I feel like Jessica's still playing on easy mode, but alright.
エリカ卿、ご存知とは思いますが、念のためご
Lady
忠
Erica, I
告をい
believe
た
you
し
know,
ま
but
す。
allow me to warn you just in case.
はい。何です？
What is it?
エリカ卿は確かに写真並みの驚くべき記憶力をお持ちです。
It is true you have an incredible photographic memory, Lady Erica.
それは探偵権限と組み合わさることで何者にも欺かれぬものとなり得ました。
That, combined with the detective proclamation, is what made it possible for you to avoid being deceived by anything.
ああ、わかってます。
Get it, I get
探
it.
偵宣言をしていない私は写真並みの記憶力を持っていても欺かれない保
Since
証
no
はないってわ
detective
けで
proclamation
す
has been
ね。
made about me, even my photographic memory doesn't count as foolproof evidence. Yeah, but she'll probably argue that it is anyway, because she's like, my memory is literally perfect, it can never be mistaken.
もちろん理解
Of
してい
course I
ますけ
understand
ど、
that.
かといって現場を直接視認しないわけにはいきませんから。
Still, it doesn't mean I can afford to miss viewing the crime scenes directly.
前回のゲームではそこに慢心し悔やみきれぬ失態を犯しましたから。
After all, in the last game, my pride in that regard led me to a truly miserable failure.
極論、今のエリカ卿はどれほど研修をしようとも
For example, by this argument, no matter how well you examine a person's
死ん
corpse,
だふりを見破れない可能性が常に残るということです。
could not even guarantee they were not faking their death with absolute certainty.
すべての状況を個別に確定させるためにも、バトラに復唱要求をする必要がある
Most
でしょう。
probably, features of this situation must be individually confirmed by telling Battler to repeat them in red.
それを引き出すために青き真実を駆使しなくてはなりませんね。
I'll need to use the blue truth liberally in order to make him.
分かってます。
Understood.
基礎を十分に基
Let's start
本
with the
から
basics.
探偵権限などなくてもハンデにはなりません。
The lack of the detective's authority is no handicap. I suppose that's true when your memory is completely foolproof and you aren't restricted in any way. because of how the game has been written to not restrict you in any way because of your detective powers. For example, in most of the cases, in most multi-murder situations like this, Battler's not allowed to see all the corpses, and he has to make assumptions about the rest of the rooms based on third-hand evidence. In this case, Erica is able to see all the rooms. The NPCs that are the rest of Battler's family don't bother hindering Erica because they've been made not to hinder her because she has detective powers. Wonderfully designed. Just declare you're not going to use your detective authority after the game is running, and you get so many free advantages because Battlers told the NPCs not to interfere with it and set up the game such that she's able to do whatever she wants because she could normally do whatever she wanted regardless. And now she can go around and claim that it's not a handicap because she can do everything. It's like, ah yes, there's a murder. The police arrive. They seal off the building. They lock it. And they're like, no one can get inside. You know, this is a crime scene. And then Erica shows up, and they conveniently all move away and unlock the door for her. And she's like, see, you don't need to be a detective to get on the crime scene. It's easy. You just walk in. It's like, there's 5 cops watching you go in, and they don't even care. Yeah. Obviously, like, why would anyone care? It's like, usually you'd get escorted or arrested for trying to tamper with an active crime scene. And she's like, no, I'm not a detective this round. It's like, you've literally had everyone programmed to treat her as a detective. Like, come on. Alright, no handicap, sure. It simply means I'm fighting under the same conditions Battler once was. Sure. Yeah. This fight is retracing the old days when Battler and Beato fought so fiercely. I have nothing as convenient as the detective's authority, except for all of the elements of the authority having been implemented into all of your interactions already. Cool. I just have to truly fight the same way the old Battler fought. Thinking of it this way, it may be true that I was given quite a favorable unfair position last game, just as my master had said. It may be difficult without the detective's authority, which is also my pride and honor as a detective, but I won't let that be a handicap. I know what magic is, and I'm fully aware how to fight with the red and blue truths. I know the way to fight this game many times better than the old Battler did. I mean, if you wanted to fight an even remotely fair game, your memory and knowledge should all be wiped and you should be starting from square one, finding things out, and then you have 2 games to master it. Or sorry, 3 games to master everything. But it's okay. We're not making a fair game anyway. I quickly visited the VIP room, Krause's study, and Natsuhi's room on the 2nd floor, as well as the parlor and guest room on the 1st floor. This time checking with my own eyes, as I failed to do so in the last game. First off, all the scenes are made to look like closed rooms. Probably of special note was the fact the master keys could have had nothing to do with the trick. The closed rooms were all made without relying on elements that could be locked or unlocked from the outside by a master key or anything else. The windows were locked from the inside, the doors were all locked and chained. A master key could get around all the locks on the doors, but not the window locks or the chain locks. I haven't yet had Battler confirm that it's impossible to manipulate those from the outside, but I'm sure he'll be able to say it in red. It'd be stupid otherwise. I understand. Right now, I'm a mere human. I can't even properly confirm the death of the corpses. Last time, I neglected to check the corpses and let a massive bit of magic get by me. I won't fail like that again. If I did, I wouldn't be able to face the master I am so indebted to. So we're taking on the Chapter 2's issues. Alright. We've checked all the scenes and finished gathering information. Here's our report. Go ahead. First, all rooms were closed rooms formed by the window locks, and the chain locks and the like. It's done that way so that interference from the outside would be difficult. The only exception is the parlor where Rosa and Maria lay dead. Allow me to explain. Let it be known the door was barred with a hat stand.
内側のみより施錠可能と思われるものなりや。
It is thought to be substantially the same as a chain lock in that it can only be set from the inside. Similar.
マスターキーによる解釈を完全に封じた密室を構成するためでしょう。
It is probably their goal to construct closed rooms where explanations using master keys are made completely
客間
ineffective.
の性格上、チェーンロックがないため、他の何かで代用することも自然です。
Parlor had no chain lock due to its very nature, so it's natural something else would be used in the chain's place.
ならどうしてチェーンロックのある他の部屋を密室に選ばなかったかが興味深いですね。
In that case, the interesting question becomes why one of the other rooms of the chain locks wasn't chosen to be a closed
バト
room.
ラが死んでいた客室は他にも数室あって同じような構造をしてたわけですよね。
There are several guest rooms other than the one Battler lay dead in, all with similar layouts, correct?
はい、そうです。
Correct.
ならそこに閉じ込めれば全員チェーンロックの密室ということでより美しかったはずなのにそれをしなかった。
In that case, even though it should have been more beautiful to throw them in there, so that everyone was inside a chain lock closed room,
どうもこの客間の帽子
They
か
did
け
not.
の缶抜きとやらがうさんくさいです。
she's right. She's right.
復唱要求でよく追求するべきでしょうね。
That hat stand door bar in the parlor seems very suspicious. It does. I feel like you could probably set that one up from the outside, honestly. Depending on how the bar is
あ
done.
と遺体なんですが前回の首がバッサリ
I should probably pursue this when
み
demanding
たい
retreat.
に探偵権限がなくとも絶対の死亡を確認できるようなものはありましたか？
Also, we have corpses. Are they the same absolute deaths with their necks sliced open, like in the last game, which could be confirmed even without the detective's authority? Of course, she checked all the corpses in all the crime scenes this time. However, without the detective's authority, she had no guarantee she'd be able to see through any faked deaths with certainty. The old battler had also started fighting by doubting whether the victims were dead. It was the same for Erica.
近景謹んで申し上げる。
Please, allow me to speak.
絶対の死を物理的に確認できる遺体はないと知りたまえ。
Know that there were no corpses that could have been confirmed dead with certainty by physical means.
近景謹んで申し上げ立てまつる。
Allow me to speak.
いずれの遺体も装飾された偽装死の可能性を否定できぬものなり。
We cannot deny the possibility any of the corpses might be a fake death.
まあ死亡確定の復唱要求をしたところでバトラが簡単に答えてくれるとも思
I
いま
doubt
せん
Battler
が
will easily confirm the deaths in red even if I tell him to.
やれやれ
See?
私はベアとの時の6連鎖密室の方が面白かったけど、
I like Beato's chain of 6 closed rooms better.
マスターキーが一切通用しないという意味においては密室の完成度は今回の方が上ね。
However, these closed rooms are even more complete considering their master keys don't help you at all.
バトラが狙ってくる密室破りはおおむね2つ。
There are two ways of breaking closed rooms that Battler might be
密
after.
室錯覚と事件錯覚。
An illusion of a closed room or an illusion of a
この
crime.
どちらかね。
It'll be one of those.
密室錯覚はわかるわ。
I got the first
一
one.
見密室に見えて実はそうじゃないってことでしょ。
That's when something that looks like a closed room actually
事件
isn't,
錯
right?
覚ってのは何？
What do you mean by an illusion of a crime?
事件が起こったと錯覚することよ。
An illusion that makes it seem as though a crime has
つま
occurred.
り本当に死んでいるのかどうかと
In
いう
other words, are they really dead?
何それ、バカバカしい。
Well, that's
いくら
dumb.
密室でも中の人が生きてたらそんなのただのトイレでおしっこしてるのと同じだわ。
The people inside are alive. Handling any kind of closed room is like pissing in a toilet.
今回の密室殺人、
With this
ぶ
closed
っち
room,
ゃけそれが回答だとしか思えないのよね。
it's pretty hard to think of any other answer.
チェーンロックを外側から細工する無限の可能性は
What about the endless possibilities of manipulating the chain lock from the
隠し
outside?
扉の有無、遠隔殺人の有無、あるいは自殺の可能性だって。
We don't know if there's secret doors, ways to kill from a distance, chances of
そもそ
suicide,
も密室が成立しているのかさえわから
or
ない
even
と
whether
いう
these are complete closed rooms in the first place.
私はバトラのゲーム版裏から見てるから知ってるけど、
Well, I already know since I'm looking at Battler's game board from the underside,
これは完璧な密室よ。
but these are perfect closed
密
rooms.
室は内部からのみ構築され、外部からは構築も解除も干渉も一切できない。
They can only be constructed from the inside. There exists no method by which to construct, deconstruct, or interfere with them from the outside.
それ赤で言える？
Can you say that in red?
さすがにそれはバトラに悪いから遠慮するわ。
That'd be a little too rude to battlers, so no.
ベルンが私を愛してるんだったら、私の発言も赤き真実で見えるはずよ。
But if you do so love me, you must see my words as red truth already, right? Oh no, I don't
なら
love her.
密室は完璧。
Then the rooms are perfect.
つまりこれは
I didn't see
事
it as
件
red.
錯覚ってことになるわ。
In other words, this is an illusion of a crime. I didn't see it as red text, so looks like I got
そうなるわね。
I got caught. It seems
だ
that
と
way.
したらこれは全部狂言密室だわ。
If so, these are all trick closed rooms.
大方、エリカがあまりに空気読めずに探偵探偵と騒ぐものだから。
Doesn't this mean that everyone got so pissed at Erica bragging about detectives and
後ろ
stuff
宮家みんなで結託して狂言殺人を披露してからかってみ
But
た
they,
っ
like-
てことじゃない？
joined together and set up a fake murder to make fun of her?
あら、これ正解？
Wait, is that the right answer?
私ってば超名探
I'm like
偵。
a super detective.
それが困ったことに、これは狂言
Don't
じゃ
love
ないの
Linda.
よ。
She's so pop and cute. Unfortunately, this isn't
犠
a
牲
fake.
者はきっちり殺されてるわ。
Victims really have been killed.
2
What?
日目の24時の時点でとかじゃなくて？
You don't mean by midnight on the second day,
探
right?
偵宣言を出してこそいないけど、彼女の検視は極めて正確よ。
No detective proclamation has been made, but she's very accurate when examining corpses.
私が赤き真実を与えられるくらいにね。
She's good enough I could give her examinations the red truth.
それで
So,
エリカの検視時に間違いなく死亡してたってことになるの？
does that mean they were definitely dead when Erica examined their corpses?
ええ、そうよ。
That's right.
それはもうがっつりと。
Totally.
でも赤き真実では言ってあげないのね。
You won't say it in red for her, right?
エリカはその赤が喉から手が出るほど欲しいだろうに。
And the poor Erica must want it so bad.
だって今回のあいつ、探偵でさえないもの。
She isn't even the detective this time around.
赤き真実なんてあげないわ。
I won't give her any red.
しかしとなるとす
Still,
ご
that
い
makes
じ
it
ゃない。
incredible.
バトラの今回のこれ完璧な密室殺人だわ。
This time, Battlers really made a perfect closed room. And Lambda really likes Battlers' closed rooms, does she? Doesn't she? Like, man.
あら、そうなる
Oh,
わ。
yes. I believe you're right.
エリカ大丈
Will Erica be
夫？
okay?
一見普通の密室殺人だけど
It looks like an ordinary closed room murder at a
地味
glance.
にかなりヤバい密室だ
This
わ
one
こ
is
れ。
pretty
探
nasty.
偵権限さえないエリカにはちょっと荷が重いんじゃない？
Won't this be a little too heavy for Erica without a detective authority?
自称名探偵だもの。
She is a self-proclaimed
きっと
detective.
エリカはやってくれるわ。
I'm sure she'll pull
探
through.
偵ですらない人間風情に打ち破られたら、バトラもベアトも最高にざまあないくらいに粉々でしょ。
If Battler and Beator are defeated by a mere human who isn't even a detective, they'll fall apart in the most exquisite way, don't you think?
それに万一エリカが負けても最悪のかけらにぶち込んで忘却の深淵に叩き込んで遊ぶからそれはそ
Even
れ
if
で
Erica
面白
loses.
そうだし。
You'll get to play by throwing her into the worst fragment and locking her into the depths of oblivion? Wait, throwing her into the worst fragment? She gets trapped in the worst fragment? What is the worst fragment? How bad is
そう
it?
いうこと。
Exactly.
私たちはどっちに転んでも退屈しないわ。
However it turns out, it won't be boring.
あんたってば本当に血も涙もないわね。
You're really heartless, aren't you?
ま、そんな黒猫を雑巾のように絞って一滴だけ滴る雫を舐める時が私の至福なわけだけど。
Bringing out this black cat like a towel and licking up every last drop is bliss to me.
ベアトのゲーム版でも散々遊ばせてもらってるけど、
Beato's game did entertain me for some time.
もう何も出てきやしないくらいに
We've
絞り
already
尽くしたわ。
run everything we can from it.
このゲ
It is
ームもこれでおしまい
Getting
なの
boring
よ
for you? It'll be over with this game. Oh yeah?
だから最後にふさわしくエリカ、バトラ、互い
I
の
like the
破
way
滅を
Burn
か
Castle
けた一
smiles.
騎打ち
In
く
the
ら
end,
い
we
には
really
盛り上
must.
がってくれなきゃね。
In the end, we really must let Battler and Erica bet everything in one final face-off.
ちえ、このゲームで無限にあんたと遊ぼうと思ったのに。
And I want to play with you forever in this game.
残念だわ。
What a shame.
とんでもない。
Come now, come.
十分にあんたに付き合わされたわよ。
I've spent plenty of time with you already.
また面白そうなゲーム版を見つけてらっしゃ
You'll find me another interesting
い。
game.
そしたらまた遊んであげる。
If you do, I'll play with you again.
本当にあんたは私を飽きさせないわ。
Really don't like me get bored.
それでいいのよ、ベルンカステル。
It's okay, Bernkester.
そんなあんたの表情を苦悶に歪めることだけが私が覚えてしまった唯一の禁断の蜜なのだから。
Seeing your face twist in anguish is the one forbidden honey I've found for myself. Lambda Delta had guaranteed it was a perfect closed room. Bernkester had guaranteed it was a perfect murder. A perfect closed room. And a murder. The witches hate a killjoy, so they hadn't said anything with red truth yet. Pursuing that was the rule for Battler and Erica. Sisonia's the worst fragment, because Featherine's the GM for it.
ドタバタと現場巡りをしたようだな。
Looks like you've trampled all over the crime scenes by now.
十分か。現場検証。
Satisfied? Your inspection complete?
ええ、十分です。
I'm satisfied. You know what's fun? You know what's fun? Since nobody searched the rooms, one of the things that she could claim is that the killer was hiding in the closet and then left after people left the room after the body discovery, which is a bit risky. But that is a possibility. The good old hide in the closet and hope no one finds you strat.
さて、私とあなたの赤と青の論争バトル
How
です
about
が、
our war of red
い
and
か
blue?
がします？早速始めますか？
Shall we start right away?
それとも最後にまとめて？
Or will we do it all at the end?
お預けは俺の性分じゃねえな。
I don't like putting things off.
それはお前もだろうぜ。
I think the same goes for you.
なら、早速この第一の番の密室に切り込ませていただきます。
Well then let's begin with the closed rooms of the first Twilight.
その前に確認です。
First I'd like to
復
check.
唱要求に応じるおつもりは？
You intend to respond if I ask you to repeat something in red?
内容によるぜ。
Depends on what you say, yeah.
すべてに応じる義務はなく、応じない理由も開示しない。
I have no obligation to respond to everything, and I won't reveal my reasons when I refuse.
グッと。
Good, good.
ではシンプルに密室定義の確認から参りましょう。
Start simple and confirm the definition of a closed room.
ドラノール、
Glenor,
読み上げてください。
read it aloud.
了解です。
Understood.
以下の復唱を要求します。
We demand the following be repeated. Glenor spread out one of the scrolls that some official would always spread out when announcing the king in Western fairy tales and read it aloud.
一つ、
First,
6人の部屋はすべて密室である。
the rooms with 6 people in them are closed rooms.
認める。
Acknowledged.
もちろん。ゴーダたちがチェーンを切断するなどして、密室を破るまでの話だが、
Of course, that's only until Goda and the others severed the change and destroyed the closed rooms. At a nod from Delanor, Cornelia, who stood behind her, started taking notes.
一つ、
Second,
密室の定義とは外部より構築不可能であること。
the definition of a closed room implies it's impossible to construct from the outside.
認める。
Acknowledged.
つまり外部からはどんな細工でも密室を構築できないということ。
In other words, no trickery done from the outside can construct a closed room.
チェーンロックを外部より細い針金などで器用にかけ直したなど
Not
は
permitted for
認められないということです。
not permitted for a chain lock to be reset from the outside by a cleverly used wire, for example.
言われるまでもありません。
I didn't need you to tell me
ド
that.
ラノール、続けてください。
Continue.
一つ、
Third,
密室の定義とは内外を横断する一切の干渉が断絶されていることを指す。
the definition of a closed room implies all forms of interference that pass between the inside and outside the room are prevented.
認める。ただ
Acknowledged.
し、ノックや声、内線電話など、一般的な部屋で想定できる干渉方法を否定はしない。
However, I will not deny the kind of interference that you'd expect from a normal room: knocks, voices, the extension telephone line.
一つ、
Fourth,
密室破壊時、 室内には犠牲者、夏日、エヴァ、キリエ、ローザ、マリア、バトラ以外存在しない。
At the time of the deconstruction of the closed rooms, none existed within the rooms except the victims, Natsuhi, Eva, Kyrie, Rosa, Maria, Battler.
認める。
Acknowledged. In this way, they could confirm whether or not the culprit had been hiding inside a closed room. If the culprit had slipped out of the room after the discoverers had noticed the murderers and then walked away, it would have been possible to construct an illusion of a closed room. Because Battler acknowledged their statement with the red truth, the possibility the culprit and the victim had been inside the closed room at the time of the crime and that the culprit had hidden under the bed and snuck out after the discovery of the crime had been denied.
一つ。
Fifth.
密室破壊時以降に殺人は行われていない。
No murder was committed after the deconstruction of the closed rooms.
拒否する。
I refuse.
なぜです
Why?
実は密室を破った時点では犠牲者たちが生きてたからですか
Because the victims really were alive after the closed rooms were destroyed?
そして実は押し入ったクラウスたちが犯人でそこで殺人を行った
The Crows and the others who barged in were the culprits and committed the murders then?
すなわち密室誤殺人だからこれが
In other words,
真相だからですか
They were post-closed room murders? Is that why you refuse?
いいえ、違います。
Not at all.
まだ殺人は続くのですから、これ以降に殺人が行われないと赤で宣言することはできません。
The murders will continue to occur, so we can't say in red no murders will happen after this.
ちへりくつを
What twisted logic.
私たちの趣旨は分かってるはずです
Probably see what we're getting at.
クラウスたちがチェーンを切断して密室を破りそして中にいた人間を殺した
Cross's group cut the chain and destroyed the closed rooms, killing the people
こ
inside.
れに反応してもらいたいだけです
Counter this.
エリカ教、クラウスたちとの不特定多数な言い方では不十分です。
Lady Erica, it is insufficient to refer to Krause's group, an unspecified number of
まず
people.
は密室破壊後に室内に入った人間を確定すべきです。
You should first determine which humans entered the room after the room was deconstructed.
近景
Allow me to
密
speak.
室に踏み入ったのは犠牲者を除きクラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダの4人なり
Accepting the victims, those who entered the closed rooms were Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda.
近景
Allow me to
こ
speak.
れは聞き取りによるものなり
This is based on spoken testimony.
他に踏み入った人物がいないという保証はなきなりと知りたてまつれ
So there is no proof the others did not enter.
言われるまでも
Oh,
な
I
い
know, I know.
今のを復唱してもらいましょう
Have you repeat that?
密室破壊後部屋に入ったのは私を除きクラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダの4人のみである
After the deconstruction of the closed rooms, then excluding me, only Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda entered the rooms.
いいぜ。
Sure.
認める。
Acknowledged. Very generous with the red truth, are we,
た
Battler?
だしこれは現時点での話だ。
This only applies to the current point
今
in
後のゲー
time.
ム展開以下では他の人物が立ち入ることもあり得る。
It is possible some later development in the game will cause more people to enter.
復唱要求クラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダは犯人ではない
Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda are not culprits. Wow, that must be easy. Battler put his finger on his chin, deep in thought. The word culprit was fairly broad. It might serve to greatly restrict the darkness of the witch.
答えてもいいのではないでしょうか。
Why not answer? Can we, like, turn around and say this violates Nox's whatever it is, the rule that says the detective can't use divination to determine who the culprit is by asking the game master who's a killer?
もし拒否すればクラウスたちが犯人であるという青き真実が
To
残ったま
refuse
ま
their
とな
blue
りま
truth
す。
naming Kraus and the others as culprits who remain?
そうだな。認めはするが言い方をさらに厳密にしよう。
I'll acknowledge it, but I'll make the language more strict.
クラウス、ルドルフ、秀吉、ゴーダたち4人は
Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda.
夏日、エヴァ、キリエ、ローザ、マリア、バトラたち6人の殺人に関わっていない。
They were not involved in the murders of Natsuhi, Eva, Kyrie, Rosa, Maria, and Battler.
ということは 密室に入ってさえいないそれ以外の人間たちもまた
That means it was also impossible for any of the other humans who didn't even enter the closed
殺人
room
に関わることは不可能
to have any
ということにな
involvement
り
in the
ます
murder,
ね
doesn't it?
さあな、自分で考え
Who
な。
knows? Think about it yourself.
密室に立ち入らずに密室殺人を成立させる青き真実が提出できるってんなら、
If you can think of a
こっ
blue
ちも赤き
truth
真実で返答してもいいぜ。
for how a closed room murder can be committed without entering the room, I'll respond with the red truth.
もっとも俺はお前がこれから提出する青き真実のうち、
However, I only need to destroy one of the blue truths you'll be presenting from here on out.
つまり今からお前が遠隔密室殺人のトリック X を青き真実で説明できたとしても、
In other words, even if you manage to use the blue truth and explain this away with some long-distance closed room murder trick,
必
I
ずしもそれに赤き真実で答える必要はない
necessarily
わ
have to counter that with the red truth. These are the rules of the Witches game. NJ had confirmed these details with Beato in the 4th game. The Witch lays out riddle after riddle it claims is impossible to carry out except by magic. The human side must use the blue to argue they are explainable with tricks. If they fail to make a counter-argument with blue truth for even one of the riddles, the riddle will be considered to have been done by magic, and it will be impossible to deny the existence of a witch. In other words, the witch side only needs to protect any one riddle. However, the human side has to fully explain all riddles with blue truth. Even if the human side manages to explain all the riddles with blue truth, if any one of those is countered by red truth, the witch will win. Which is why, like the strategy the old Beato adopted in the end, it's sufficient for the witch side to put off their red text counter arguments until the last moment, then make a single strike at their opponent's most fragile spot. Battlers being a lot more generous with red text
いずれにせ
and
よ
timing.
今の復唱要求には拒否ということですね
In any event, you refuse to repeat the last one, right?
勘違いするなよ。
Oh, don't get the wrong
復
idea.
唱要求は
I don't
お
give out
前
red
へ
for
のサービ
free.
スではないんだぜ。
From the witch's side perspective, repeating statements made by the human side is just a supplement to make sure they haven't misunderstood the question. Therefore, they have no obligations to respond to the extremely broad demands.
やりますね魔女側プレイヤーとしてもなかなか頑張るじゃないですか
Looks like you can handle being a player on the witch side pretty well too.
お前とは場数が違うぜ。
Experience is no match for mine.
トラノール
Delano,
続けます。
let's
一つ
continue.
犠牲者たちは他殺を除くあらゆる方法で死んではいない。
Victims did not die by any method other than homicide.
認める。
Acknowledge.
もちろん自
Acknowledge.
殺や事
Okay.
故死ではありません。
Of course, there were no suicides or accidental deaths.
一つ犠牲者
Seventh,
は
the victims.
ドラノール
That's
それ
enough,
で
Delano.
結構です
よろしいのです
You're
か
sure?
まだ項目が
There are still items.
ええもう十分です
Yes, that will do
現
fine.
場の状況は確認できました
Let's confirm the status of the crime
こ
scene.
こから青き真実での反論タイムとしま
And
しょ
from
う
now on, it's time for me to argue back with the blue truth. Okay, okay.
ああ、いいぜ。
Sure.
ご考説を拝聴
Let's
し
hear
ようぜ
these masterful theories. Erica's first theory, let's see it. Though Battler and Erica were enemies, it looked to Beato as though they were having a little fun doing this. What's my theory on this? I don't have a theory because I've never worked out how they're supposed to escape from that the second floor bedroom. So I can't come up with a theory. I haven't been able to figure out that murder since it happened with Ava and Hideyoshi. So like I don't have a theory because my theory is that I don't know how they got killed in the first place or how anyone possibly escaped. She's probably slightly jealous of Erica, and they've already confirmed that no one's in the rooms or hiding anywhere, and it's a standard closed room package, so there's no hidden passages or anything, so like I don't fucking know, man. I can sit here and think about it, but it doesn't actually, so like I don't actually have a solution for it. She's probably slightly jealous of Erica. Beato thought back on the books she'd read in Featherine's library, which the old her and Battler had fought. That must have been fun as well. During a short break in the family conference, a horrible, brutal mass murder had occurred. The 6 people killed, excluding Battler, had all been women. The remaining men went mad with rage at this cowardice and then broke down sobbing at the sadness of losing their wives over and over again.
どうして女ばかり
Why were they all
卑
women?
劣にも程があるやないか
Cowardly can a person be?
俺たちは何だってんだ
What's wrong with
同
us?
じ屋根の下にいて自分の家族が殺されてるのに揃いも揃って気づかずのんびりヤニを吸ってたってわけかよ畜
Here we
生
are. Under the same roof and we're all just smoking away, not noticing members of our own family are getting killed. Damn it.
しかし誰がどうやっ
And
て
how?
妻たちは決して無防備ではなかったのだ
They
ぞ
were not unguarded.
皆チェーンをしたままだった
Chain was set for all of them.
くだらねえぜそんなこと
What's the damn about that?
どうやって殺したかが問題じゃねえ誰が殺したかだけが
I
問
don't
題
care how
だ
they were killed. I just want to know who did it.
なあ源氏さん
Hey,
ゴーダさ
Genji-san.
ん
Goda-san.
親族会議中の屋敷は窓も扉もすべて鍵がかかってたっちゅうんやな
Were the doors and windows to the mansion all locked during the family conference?
はい
Yes.
それはもう間違いなく
There can be no doubt.
奥様のお言いつけ通り普段は夜の見回り時に必ず
In accordance with
全
Madame's
ての施
instructions,
錠をいたしております
everything is locked at the time of the night patrol. I'd just like to point out that according to Beatrice, she unlocks one of the locks every single night, so theoretically there is a way into the mansion if you really had to make one. I.e., there is a lock that does not lock properly and can be opened. I don't know if that is ever relevant, but Beatrice has been said on multiple occasions to unlock locked windows and doors, and Beatrice herself said she likes unlocking one window for fun. So I wonder if that will ever be relevant. I don't know if it's relevant for any of the other murders, but in theory, one of the regular windows might be unlocked, like a hallway window.
今夜は特別でございましたのでお子様方をゲストハウスへお送りしてからすぐに施錠するようにいたしておりました
Everything was locked up right after seeing the children off to the guest house.
そりゃおかしいぜ
Is that possible?
だったらどうして屋敷にバトラーやマリアちゃんがいるんだ
I mean, Battler and Maria-chan were inside the mansion,
入っ
right?
てこれないはずだろう
They shouldn't have been able to get in, right?
戸締まりがほんまにしっかりしとったらそういうことにはならんはずや
If everything was locked up properly, that couldn't have happened.
この二人が屋敷の中にいたことが戸締まりが完全じゃなかったことの証
Doesn't
拠
that
とちゃう
prove the
んか
building wasn't completely
Nah.
locked up? Well,
Nah.
well. He was arguing Goda's failure to lock up properly might have allowed a stranger to sneak in. Stranger danger. At the very least, none of them had known that Battler and Maria visited the mansion. If those two had come and found everything locked tight, they wouldn't have been able to get inside. That's a good point. How did Battler and Maria get in? If they rang the doorbell, Goda would have heard them from the servant room, but Goda said nothing of the sort happened. How had they entered the locked mansion? It was a complete mystery.
ひょっとするとでございます
Really
が
an idea, but
例えば奥様方のどなたかがたまたま玄関近くにおいでになり
what if Madame or someone happened to be near the entrance?
バトラー様たちのノックか呼び鈴に気づいて扉をお開けになったとか
Noticed Battler-sama and Maria knocking on the door, ringing the bell, and let them in?
そんなわけねえだろ
Couldn't have happened. Why not?
その時ゴダさんは使用人室にいたはずだろ
You were in the servant room, right, Goda? That is true. Presumably.
玄関が開いたら使用人室にチャイムが鳴る仕掛けがあったはずだぜ
Isn't there a chime in the servant room that goes off when the front door opens? Oof.
来客に気づかねえわけはねえ
There's no way you'd miss anyone.
それがその
ゴーダはその時ちょうど皆様方のお言いつけで
At that time,
の配膳にお伺いしており、
Goda was serving drinks as he requested.
使用人室に不在でした。
He was not in the servant room. Uh-oh. That's not good.
なんでこんな大事な日に屋敷の使用人が一人なんだ。
I was the only one servant in the mansion on such an important day.
どうして源氏さんみたいな重要な人がゲストハウスの当番なんだ。
Why was someone as important as Genji on the duty in the guest house?
おかしいじゃねえか。
That even makes sense.
どうして使用人室を空っぽにしちまったんだ。
The servant room left empty.
妻がそういうシフトを組んだのだ。
That awkward moment where Krauss is like, my wife formed those shifts.
よく気の利くゴーダなら、親族会議中にも洒落た飲み物を差し入れてくれると期待したのだろう。
You probably hoped that Goda would be kind enough to serve some fashionable drinks throughout the family conference as well.
しかしな、クラウス兄さん。
Krauss Nissan.
親族会議やで。
This is the family conference, right? Right?
一年で一番大切な日やで。
Most important day of the year, right?
そんな日に、なんでゴーダさん一人だけを屋敷の当番にしたんや。
Why was Goda the only person on shift in the
せ
mansion?
めてもう一人おったら話は変わってたんとちゃうか。
If there were one more person, everything would have been different, wouldn't it?
ね
Right?
えねえ。
Right? With a half-crying, half-enraged, jumbled-up expression, Hideyoshi yelled at Goda. Of course, the culprit who killed everyone was the most to blame, and the most despicable. However, even if he understood that, he needed to let off some of his emotions by hating someone he could see. Life in the service industry is rough.
皆さんの胸中
I'm aware
心
of
よ
how
り
everyone
お察しです
feels.
がどうか
Please
落
calm
ち着
down.
いてくゴーダさんの戸締まりが不完全だったか
Either Goda-san wasn't thorough in locking
あ
up,
るいはゲストハウスから戻ってきたバトラさんとマリアさんを誰かが迎え入れて
or
その
someone
後
let Battler-san
施錠
and
し忘れた
Maria-san
のか
in
は分かりません
after they came back from the guest house and then forgot to lock up afterwards.
ただそれが謎の犯人の侵入と関係があったとは限りません
However, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how the culprit snuck in.
何しろあれだけの大きなお屋敷です
After all, the mansion is massive.
もっ
It's
と
that's
早い
true.
段階から屋敷に入りずっと深夜までどこかの部屋で息を殺していたのかもしれませ
They
ん
might have come in much later and hidden till late at night for all we know.
誰かを疑いたい気持ちはわかりますがどうか落ち着いてください
I understand you might want to suspect certain people, but please calm down.
客人の言う通りだ。
Guest is right.
憎むべきは犯人であって、たまたま当番だったゴーダではない。
The culprit is the one we should hate, not the servant who happened to be on
と
duty.
にかく、落ち着こ
Anyway, let's calm down.
う。私とて悔しい。
Feel as terrible as the rest of you.
だが今は、我々が率先して冷静さを取り戻さなくてはどう
So
し
we
ようも
must
ない。
take initiative now and regain our composure. Okay, good plan, Kraus. Now, do we have any ideas of who the killer could be? Could George be the killer this time around? Starting the investigation? Intended to start the investigation, alert Erica to an issue, and be the killer? Possible. George goes in, leaves the place, informs them, gets Erica, asks around, makes himself look really suspicious because Battler and Mario run. Like, there's no shot he wouldn't have noticed they were absent, right? Maybe him and Jessica are doing all the killings this time around. Maybe it's canon. Maybe it's Shannon. They are servants after all.
兄貴
Aniki.
皆辛くて悔しい気持ちは同じだ。
Everyone feels just as sad and
そして
devastated.
犯人を絶対に許したくない。
None of us will ever forgive the one who did this
だからこそ
for that reason.
我々は冷静を取り戻さなければならないのだ。
We must regain our composure.
そうや。
He's right. Crying Hideyoshi. I don't think we've seen much of a crying Hideyoshi at all in all these arcs. Yet here he is, openly crying.
わしにもジョージがおる。
I still have George.
クラウス兄さんにはジェシカちゃんがおる。
Kraus Nissan still has Jessica Chen.
そしてルドルフ君も帰りを待つエンジちゃんがおるはずや。
And Rudolph Kuhn, you still have NJ Chan waiting for you to return, right?
犯人と差し違えたる思うんはまだ早いんや。
It's still too soon to start pointing fingers.
まだ犯人はこの島にいます。
Culprit is still on the island.
そしてこの無残な事件が
Can't
こ
be
れで
sure this
幕を下
tragic
ろしたと
crime
は限ら
is
ないの
over.
です。私たちは冷静を取り戻し、これ以上の惨劇を食い止めねばなりません。
You need to stay calm and prevent further tragedies. I was gonna say, what are the odds that they notice someone shooting through the blinds and a wall to kill someone? But I guess we would have noticed that in one of the previous hints. Erica's words softly consoled them and then gently admonished them. If a servant had said the same thing, Rudolph probably would have jumped on him. However, since it came from the lips of a guest, the neutral party, it seemed to reach their ears.
落ち着きましょう。
Let's stay calm.
ここには成人の男性が3人もいて、そして銃を持っています。
We have 3 grown men with us and guns as well.
犯行の手口を見る限り、犯人が銃を持っている可能性は低いでしょう。
Judging by the pattern of the murders, the chances of the culprit having a gun are fairly low. You know, she's kind of right.
つまり、私たちがしっかりしている限り、もはや犯人に手出しする余地はないということです。
In other words, as long as we keep our heads, the culprit no longer has a way to touch us.
彼女の言う通りだ。
He's right.
後宮の島でこれ以上犯人の好き勝手にさせるわけにはいか
We
ん。
can't let the culprit do as they please any longer on our island.
探し出そう。
Let's find the culprit. Alright, get
こ
searching.
の台風だ。
We're in the middle of a typhoon.
島からは逃げられねえし、雨
There's
宿り
only
できる
so
場所だ
many
って
places they can
限
take
られて
shelter
る
from
は
the
ずだ。
rain in. Like Kuadorian, the entire mansion.
この島は案外狭くありません。
This island is larger than you think.
残念ですが、この程度の人数で島を探すのは難しいでしょう。
Unfortunately, it would be difficult to search the island with this many people.
何しろ皆さんは見つけたら即座に撃ち殺さんばかりの勢いです。
After all, if you found the culprit, you might shoot them to death on the spot as you are now.
怯えた犯人があの深い森の中に逃げ込んだとしたら簡単には見つけられません。
Fighting culprit ran deep into that deep forest, you wouldn't find them easily, or at all. Hideyoshi.
そうやな。
Right. Thinking he's like, yeah, that's right. I guess he can't find them. They're in the forest.
おとなしく台風が過ぎるのを待って。
We should just wait for the typhoon to pass. Well, that's a rational thought, but unfortunately we're in a death game,
船に警
Hideyoshi.
察を呼んでもらい、島中を徹底的に探し回ってもらう方がええやろ。
We'll have the boat call the police for us, let them thoroughly search the island.
警察はな。
The police are incredible.
何
But can they
百人も来
detect
てくれ
magic?
て。ほんまにしらみつぶしで探すんや。
Bring hundreds of people and pick through it with a fine-tooth comb.
いくらあの深い森でもな。絶対にあぶり出してみせるで。
They'll definitely smoke the culprit out.
今一番大事なのは
Most important thing
こ
now
れ以上愛する家族を失わないことだ。
is to make sure no more of our precious family members are taken from us.
ルドルフ、
Rudolph,
お前に万が一があったら帰りを待つエンジェちゃんはどうなる？
something happens to you, what'll happen to NJ-chan back home?
キリエ。マトラ。
That'll...
畜生。
Damn.
畜生。
Damn.
お前たちに。俺はまだ打ち明けてねえってのに。
I never had a chance to tell you the truth. He's still going on about that truth.
クラウスさん、
Son?
きっといとこ部屋の皆さんも激しく動揺していると思います。
I'm sure everyone in the cousin room is extremely agitated right now.
クラウスさんが落ち着きを取り戻したところを見せることによって皆さんも少なからず落ち着きを取り戻せると思います。
You showed them you've regained your composure. I'm sure that will help them relax a
言
lot.
ってあげてはどうでしょう。
Do you mind heading up there?
そうだな。
Good point.
みんなにこれからのことを話さなければなるまい。
We have to talk with everyone about what we're doing next.
源氏さんと郷田さんも一緒に上に行ってください。
Go up with him, Genji. Go to
シ
son.
ャノンさんやカノンさん、熊沢さんもきっと動揺されてると思います。
I'm sure Genji-san, or I'm sure that Shannon-chan, Cannon-san, and Kumasawa-san are all very agitated.
はい。
Yes.
それはもうきっと皆さんも動揺されていることでしょう。
I'm sure everyone's quite agitated.
よろしいのですか？
Are you certain?
何かお手伝いできることは他にありませんか？
Anything we can help with?
だからこそクラウスさんと一緒にいてください。
That's why I want you to go with Kraus-san.
何かの時すぐにそれに応えられるように。
I want you there to help if anything happens.
私たちは先にここの戸締まりを確認したいと思います。
I'd like for the rest of us to check and see that everything's locked up here. They're gonna hold out in the guest house. They're gonna hold it in the guest house. Same strategy they did for 3?
すぐに上がりますから先に行ってください。
Please go ahead.
わかりました。
Understood.
何かございましたらお呼びください。
If you need anything, please call us. Poor Battler and Maria killed because they didn't have a boyfriend or girlfriend. Genji bowed and Kraus nodded. Kraus also nodded to Erika and then headed up to the second floor with Genji and Goda. In times of confusion when only men are around, it's easy for a composed member of the opposite sex to take initiative. Even without the detective's authority, she was able to control them quite naturally. Erika had wanted to get rid of the servants for the time being.
よし。
Okay.
そうと来たら、早速戸締まりを確認しようぜ。
Get to check in the locks.
問題はラウンジのこの大窓やな。
Our problem's going to be the big window in the
シャッ
lounge.
ターもないみたいや。
Looks like it doesn't even have shutters.
ここをぶち破られたら侵入は防げんで。
If we smash this, we won't even be able to stop them from coming in.
いいさ。ガラスの割れる音で十分だぜ。
The sound of the glass smashing will be more than enough
蜂
warning.
の巣にしてやる。
We'll turn him into Swiss cheese!
お静かに。
Quiet, please.
皆さんに残ってもらったのは戸締まりの確認のためではありません。
I didn't have you stay down here to check the doors and windows.
今から言うことを冷静に聞いてください。
What I'm about to say. When Erika lowered her voice, Rudolph and Hideyoshi realized she wanted to talk to them about something secret, so they brought their ears closer as they regained their composure.
いいですか？
Listen.
事件は親族会議の小休止中というわずかの時間の間に起こりました。
This crime happened during a short break in the family
そ
conference.
のわずかの時間中に誰にも悟られずに6人もの人間を殺すなど到底場当たり的な犯行とは思えません。
In that tiny span of time, 6 people were killed without anyone noticing. I can't imagine a crime improvised on the spot going so
こ
smoothly.
れは屋敷の内外の構造を知り尽くした関係者の犯行です。
This crime was committed by someone who knew the layout of the mansion while inside and out.
それは。
そら内部に詳しゅうなかったら。
If they didn't know the inside well.
しかし。
A short while ago, they'd attacked Goda, suspecting the servants of making a blunder. However, they'd only thought he'd forgotten to lock up and were attacking him for letting the mysterious culprit sneak in. They hadn't considered one of the servants they knew so well might have taken those lives at their own hands. They hadn't wanted to think that, more like. People can't easily suspect people they knew well of being a culprit.
犯行当時、
At the time of the
屋
culprit.
敷は内部より施錠され、親族会議に関わる皆さんしか存在しませんでした。
The mansion was locked from the inside, and only those involved in the family conference existed there.
じゃあ兄貴がキリエたちを殺したってのか？
So Aniki killed Kirie and the
そ
others?
れとも秀吉兄さんを疑えってのか？
Do I suspect Hideyoshi
あり
Nisa?
えねえ。考えられね
Impossible. Unthinkable.
わしは花からクラウス兄さんもルドルフ君も疑っとらんで。
I never even considered suspecting Kraus, Nissan, or
わ
Rudolph.
しら兄弟はみんな夫婦仲は円満や。
All the siblings had excellent relationships with their spouses.
後宮家は確かに規律や金には厳しい一族やで。
Sure, the Ushiramiya family may be strict with discipline and
しか
money.
しな、家族を大事にするっちゅう気持ちは他の家に勝るとも
But it
劣
doesn't
らん
mean
つ
we
もりやで。
treasure our own families less than anyone else. Does
え
it?
え、もちろんそれは
Yes,
信
of
じてます。
course. I believe that.
皆さんが奥さんを殺すなど夢にも思っていませんから。
I wouldn't dream that any of you would kill your own wives. Ah, yes, placate them. Okay. Erica had already received red truth proof from Battler they were not the murderers, so there was no need to argue that point. Right. Peace Erica can interact with Meta Battler. There's no separation between... How is it fair that there's no separation between Peace and Meta character, but there is for Battler? That seems very one-sided. Whatever. Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda. Erica is able to act on information she gains from Meta Battler, but Battler is not able to act on information he gains from Meta Beatrice or Meta Battler. Kraus, Rudolph, Hideyoshi, and Goda, none of these four were the killer. And yet Erica said this. Almost like she's getting them to suspect other people. Like, however, what about Goda-san? Like that. One of the servants. One of the kids.
ずっと控室にいて、誰にも知られずに何らかの工作ができる立場です。
He was in the waiting room the whole time during the family conference, in a position from which he could do anything without anyone knowing.
ゴーダさんを疑うのはちょいと早いで。
Isn't it early to suspect Goda-san?
ゴーダさんは小休止の時、食堂に飲み物の配膳に来てくれてたんや。
Goda-san came to bring us drinks in the dining hall during the break.
だいぶ長いことを一緒にいてくれた。
He was with us for quite some time. He couldn't have had time to kill 6 people.
しかし、実行犯を屋敷内に手引きすることはできたかもな。
However, he might have been able to let the actual killer into the mansion, like, say, George?
そういうことです。
Precisely.
ゴーダさん自身は実行犯ではないでしょう。
Goda-san probably didn't kill them himself.
しかし、
Servant conspiracy?
However,
it's very possible he secretly welcomed the actual murderer into the mansion. Rudolph and Hideyoshi, stunned, looked at each other. They were family. Even a wife of the siblings would be considered family. Though the siblings hated each other, it wasn't possible they'd hate each other's wives enough to kill them. Ava and Rosa were 2 of the siblings. But none of the others could have had any reason to kill Natsuhi, Kyrie, Battler, or the young Maria. To a servant like Goda, perhaps they were all little more than complete strangers.
私が使用人を疑う点は2点です。
I suspect the servants on 2 points. Oh yeah, I'm considering that... Wait, who was it that escorted Maria out of the hall that Erica was making her cry in? Was that Battler? I don't remember who escorted her, but you know, maybe Battler and Maria went to see Ava or some shit. Maybe they went to see Ava, or not Ava, Rosa, in an attempt to calm Maria down. Got killed because they ran in on the murder scene or something. I suspect the servants on 2 points.
まず1点目は犠牲者たちと面識があり。かついずれの現場にも争った跡がないこと。
First, the victims are familiar with them. There were no signs of a fight in any of the crime scenes.
すべての現場は全く乱れていなかったのを皆さんもよくご存知のはずです。
There was no disturbance at any of those places.
それは俺も思ってたぜ。
I was thinking that too.
あの喧嘩慣れしたキリエが何の抵抗もなく綺麗にぱったり殺されるかってんだ。
Kyrie was used to enough fights. He wouldn't get killed that easily without resisting. That woman wouldn't hesitate to bite your finger off. It makes more sense if the culprit's someone they know. Someone who suddenly attacked when her guard was down. Come to think of it, the same goes for my Ava. She knows a dozen kinds of martial arts. She spends practically every day wishing that some ruffian would attack her. She wouldn't have been killed off so easily. They haven't said how they died, so we don't know if they got killed via gunshot. What about Rosa-san in the parlor?
一人娘と一緒のローザさんが不審者相手に抵抗もせずみすみすと殺されると思いますか
You think she'd be easily killed by a stranger without resisting while she had only her daughter with her?
そしてこのことはもう一つ大事なことを教えています。
And this tells us something else that's important.
大事なこと?
Important? Something?
犯人は一人じゃないってことか。
The culprit isn't just one person, right?
そう。
You're right.
そうや。 客間にはローザさんとマリアちゃんが2人おったんや。
Rosa-san and Maria-chan were in the parlor.
同時に殺さなかったら大騒ぎになるところやで。
If they hadn't both been killed at the same time, there would have been an uproar. I mean, in the story, Battler told us there were several people screaming, but no one bothered coming.
それを殺せたっちゅうことは、犯人は単独犯じゃないってことや。
Since the culprit was able to do that, there can't just be one of them.
ローザはマリアちゃんのことが絡めば、小連れ熊みたいに怒りっぽくなるやつだ。
When it comes to Maria, Rosa's like a quick-to-anger mama bear.
仮に相手が銃で脅したとしても、ひるむようなやつじゃねえ。
She wouldn't cower in fear even if someone pointed a gun at her. I see.
ローザにギリギリまで不信感を持たれない人物。
So it has to be someone who wouldn't rouse Rosa's suspicion until the last second. So, Shannon Cannon, the duo committing murder, still don't know how they got in and made the locked room scenarios, but blam blam. The two of them going around. Seems reasonable, right?
未知の部外者が島に紛れ込んでいるという考えの方が非現実的であることがすでにお分かりと思います。
The idea of an unknown outsider sneaking into the island is actually the less realistic option.
犯人はこの島に精通した関係者。
The culprit is someone familiar with this island. Most badass girl in Umineko's Kiri, in your opinion? Oh yeah, she's pretty cool.
そして複数です。
Pity she only shows up as a murder victim most of the time. Shows up, gets murdered, and that's about most of her involvement. There's more than one culprit, and they're familiar with the island. The culprit is so unfamiliar, and there's more than one. Erica's reasoning pointed clearly at the ones they should suspect and guard themselves against.
エリカちゃんは使用人たちを疑ってるっての
Suspect
か。
the servants?
はい。
Yes.
現状を推理して最も疑わしいと思います。
Under the present circumstances, they're the most suspicious. It helps when you can get clarification from Battler that 4 of the people are, or 3 of the people are clean, right? Wait, who do you got? This guy, this guy, this guy, and Goda is clean. So she's already gotten Battler to verbally confirm that like half the people aren't the killer. So George, Jessica, Nanjo, Erica, Genji, Shannon, Cannon, and Kumasawa are the only ones left. They are most
彼らを疑う2点目がチェーンロックの密室なのです。
Second reason to suspect them is the closed rooms with the chain locks.
どうしてチェーンロックが疑わしいんだ。
Why do the chain locks make them suspicious?
もしチェーンロックのない密室だったら
But if there were no chain lock on the closed rooms?
そんなの密室やないで。
They wouldn't be closed
マ
rooms.
スターキーの1本もあれば誰だって密室にできるわ。
With a single master key, anyone could make them.
そういうこ
I
とか。
see.
使用人たちが疑われないためにはチェーンでロックする必要があったってことか。
The servants had to steal them with a chain so they wouldn't be suspected. Yeah, good plan.
その通りです。チェーンをかけることで彼らは疑われずに済む。
By setting the chain, they don't have to worry about being suspected. That makes sense. Use the chain instead of the locks, they aren't suspected. They probably locked it as well, but that's not important.
逆を返せばチェーンをかければ彼らマスターキーの所持者は疑いを免れないのです。
To turn it around, if the chains weren't set, they wouldn't be able to avoid suspicions as they hold the master keys.
チェーンをかけて渡航するんは使用人だけっちゅうわけか。
But the only ones with something to gain from setting the chain are the servants. Meaning it's more likely that the servants are guilty. Yep. You could be doing some intense reverse psychology though and saying you had all the locks and chains set because you wanted to throw people onto the servants because everyone else would have just locked the door to make it look like the servants were guilty. How many layers deep is Battler going? And then of course, assuming someone thought that, you could also counteract it by then setting the chain to throw them back and then off again. And just keep going. I'm not trying to protect them or anything, but if so, how do they actually set the chains?
外からチェーンをかけるなんてでき
Is
る
it
のか。
possible to set them from the outside?
構造的に考えて 不可能ではないと思います。
Considering how they're built, I don't think it would be
こん
impossible.
な話ご存知ですか？
Have you heard this story?
マンションの郵便ポストに配達する郵便屋さんの中にはたまに針金で作ったヘラを持ち歩いてる人もい
Apparently,
るそう
some
です
mailmen
ね。
who deliver to apartment mailboxes are known to carry loops of wire with them.
ああ、聞いたことあるで。
Heard it.
マンションの郵便ポストは似たような部屋番号のポストが隣接しとる。
Apartment mailboxes often have similar adjoining boxes around them for nearby room numbers.
ひょいっと投函したら一部屋間違ったポストだったっちゅうことも割とある話らしいや。
I'd hear they'd sometimes accidentally deliver letters to the next room over if they weren't careful.
マンションのポストは施錠されてることがほとんどです。
The mailboxes are almost
間
always
違
locked.
って投函してしまったらもう取り出せなくなってしまう。
You put mail into the wrong one, you'd have no way of getting it out. In that situation, they're supposed to tell the owner of that mailbox about their mistake. Yeah, they probably don't do that. I believe there's also... if I'm thinking correctly, do mailbox keys actually have a master cut that you can buy online? There's actually a few locks you can straight up just buy master keys for. Surprisingly enough. Not too many of them are like the kind of locks you would use on like your front door, but I believe some of the smaller locks do have master keys. Supposed to tell the owner of the mailbox about their mistake. Have that person unlock the mailbox for them and then retrieve the improperly delivered mail. However, the resident of that apartment would often be out, and going through that process would be a real pain. Because of that, some mailmen make a little tool out of wire with a loop at the end. They use that to fish the mistakenly placed postcard out through the crack of the mailbox.
俺もビルの管理会社の兄ちゃんに聞いたことがあるな。
I've heard something similar from a friend of mine at a building management
たまに
company.
トイレの個室の中で酔っ払って寝込んじまうやつがいるらしくて。
Seems they'd sometimes get drunks who locked themselves in the bathroom and fell
そういう
asleep.
のを連れ出すために扉の隙間から薄い金具を入れて缶抜きを外したりすることもあるらしい。
So to get them out of there, they'd stick a thin metal tool through the crack in the door and undo the latch.
そういうことです。
Right.
どこの業界でも本来は開けられないものをひょいっと開けられる裏技的な小道具が存在するものです。
All industries have tools that can easily open things that normally can't be
同じ
opened.
ものを屋敷の使用人たちが持っていたとしても取り立てて驚くことではありません。
It wouldn't be particularly surprising if the servants of the mansion had something of the sort. Good point.
確かに。
コツさえ分かれば
Once you figure out the knack of it,
針金で外からチェーンをかけるのも
you probably could set the
で
chain
きな
from the
いわけじゃ
outside
なさそうだ。
via a wire.
確かに。
Yep.
できないとは言い切れない。
Can't be sure it's impossible. But she set them on the true, physically speaking. One couldn't say for sure there existed no way to set and unset the chain locks from the outside, but she got red text saying it wasn't possible. So why is she putting them on this case? Chain locks allow for the door to be opened a crack. If you stuck something through the crack, you should be able to manage it easily. It was very natural for them to think that. However, Erica knew better. Though it might be possible in reality, the Red Truth had already declared those closed rooms could not have been constructed from the outside. In other words, it was impossible to manipulate the chain lock from the outside. And yet, Erica was guiding their thoughts with the illusion that only the servants could have constructed the closed rooms. With an air of solemnly revealing some crucial point, she steadily steered the situation in the direction she wanted. Every part of her serious face for the last few minutes had been an act. Nay, to put it in her words, it was a detective technique for tricking suspects.
同じ話はクラウスさんにもするつもりです。
I plan to tell Kraus-san what I've
使
told
用
you.
人たちの全員が犯人だとは言いません。
I'm not saying all the servants are
し
culprits.
かし、犯人、もしくはそれに加担する人物が含まれている可能性は濃厚です。
However, it's very likely one of them's a culprit who's been insisting the
彼
culprit.
らを隔離し、銃を持つ人間を監視につけるべきです。
We should split them apart and have people with guns keep an eye on them. Rudolph and Hideyoshi looked at each other again. What she was saying made sense. It sounded as though she was calmly smoking out the most suspicious people at this point in time. With her accomplished conversation techniques, Erica was cleverly grasping the initiative. Even without the detective's authority, it was possible to control human nature to this degree. What do you think, everyone? I think if you weren't aware of all this meta information, it would be a lot harder to actually play the game. Is this level of reasoning possible for Erika Furude? Or sorry, Erika Furudo. Sorry. It's not Rika Furude, it's Erika Furudo. Completely different names, I assure you.
いかがですか?
Oh.
魔女側のプレイヤーは
How is it playing on the witch's side? Well, I guess we'll have to find that one out next time.